435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
It's the greatest time of the year again. Kickoff is here and football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and this year you can too. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code EARLY, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code EARLY to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 19 plus in Nebraska and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker in one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns joining you on a little bit more of Sour Monday than usual. Husker football takes their first loss of the season, losing to Illinois in overtime, 31-24. Shout out to the Husker volleyball program, though, continuing to be dominant. Everything's being coached by SMU. They have completely turned the corner on their own type of run and beating the ranked opponents themselves as they beat Louisville in 5 sets on the road. So, good morning, Pierson-El. Let's bring you in. How you doing on this Monday? First Monday after a Husker football loss.
It was a terrible weekend. Terrible. But,
your weekend goes on.
some comes up, they'll love you tomorrow. So it's, lick your wounds, watch the tape, get back to the table and, figure out how to get back on track.
What hurts more, watching the Huskers lose in a close game to Illinois or watching your Raiders get the doors beat off them by the Panthers?
Look, you want to start this early. We can go. How do you feel about Fields doing what he's doing, and look at your team, what they doing?
Yeah, I got some major head coaching issues right now. I had to vent a little bit, get it off my chest. It's not been a great weekend for me either. DeMornay Pierson-El, disappointment after disappointment. Fantasy team also looked like dog water this weekend, so we're sitting 0-3 unless Travis Etienne pulls something incredible off. But I'm looking at a 0-3 weekend here.
In one league, it's looking like I'm going to be 3-0. In another one, CD didn't put up a good week, so I think I lose by like 5 points or something like that. He got Joe Burrow, so I'm like, we'll see how things go tonight. Yeah,
I got your guys, Zamir White. The direction of the offense is not what I thought it was going to be. They're not really doing anything at all. So, and we'll see what happens here, but it felt like it was going to be the downgrade from Josh Jacobs. Still surprised that the Packers were able to land him, and he's been incredible for the Packers so far. The Bears haven't figured out how to use DeAndre Swift, but that's all NFL. That's a whole other tangent that I could spend hours on, but let's talk about this game. Just a quick synopsis from the entire game. What was your mindset heading into it, and what was the mindset when the clock hit 0 in overtime? Or I should say hit 0 when Nebraska took a sack and that wrapped things up.
First things first, that's the first time, Dylan looked like a freshman. Secondly, honestly, I don't think Illinois was better than us. I think missed opportunities and not being consistent got us that L.
So nothing new.
Yeah, but you usually, when you see things look completely different from the quarterback position, and this was just, I won't say preparation, but execution.
I'll say Brett Bielema won the coaching battle. I think that's fair.
That's preparation. I will give you that. I think their defensive line showed up consistently more on tape, a little bit more than ours. Again, missed tackles, missed opportunities. The same things that's been going on in the wins showed up, and it just wasn't enough to get you over the hump. That's all that happened.
Yeah, because we talked about it, right? What was the problem last week? Poor tackling. Yards after contact was a surplus for you and I. What was the problem for Illinois? Yards after contact, a massive surplus in this game. And I think frustration was the biggest factor in that second half, where guys were just looking at each other a few times with their hands up, trying to figure out where the communication was even at, with just some totally blown plays, especially in that overtime. Might have been one of the fastest overtimes I've got to see this season. 2 plays for Illinois and backwards for Nebraska right off the bat. And the other part of that was some of the penalties, but the penalties got worse in this game more than we've seen. Mm-hmm. Do you expect these things to be fixed now? Is it something where someone's got to punch you in the face and make you take a loss before you do something about it?
I expect them to change it. It's a part of the game. It's one of those things to where it comes down to discipline. It's not. I understand. People try and people strain with things or whatnot. It's one of those things that can be fixed overnight. It's just understanding when to do something and when not necessarily to do something, and just kind of be conscious of that, and don't let your impulse take over, honestly, with a lot of things.
Yeah, that second half felt like impulse took over. What do you make that second half defense performance?
The second
looked frustrated.
Would I make the second half of what it went out?
What do you make of the second half defensive performance? Just their inability to really respond. Usually that's been a highlight of Tony White's defense, is that second half they almost look even better. They make great adjustments. This second half, though, it just got worse.
The adjustments weren't working. Again, with more missed tackles, more miscues. They just looked out of sync. I'm not going to say tired or anything like that, but for whatever reason, it just, the juice necessarily wasn't there. The typical things that people don't get and don't see, them that they be a strong showing of, it just what you can kind of hang your hat on wasn't really as strong. They flashed at times, and then other times it's like, what are we doing? So I don't think they just capitalize on a lot of things, and those little things added up on offense and defense. Offense had four opportunities to score, and you completely don't. You got the touchdown that I still think that rule needs to be switched to, instead of an interception, to a strip fumble or something, because that's not on the quarterback. Like, that's not his fault,
No.
So I'm not mad at that, but I mean, as a receiver, you got to make that play. So I mean, you got the touchdown which is, there's some controversy because he catches it, he makes a move, he crosses the plane, that should be a touchdown. It's one of them ones, but if you leave it up for, maybe not, you don't, shut the door enough, those situations type happens, and you can point to that. And if you score out of the other three other plays, the field goal, the piss poor execution by the running back stepping out of bounds, Raiola not necessarily seeing it early on and throwing into the blitz. So I mean, that's both parties, not just one. And then you got 44 coming open on the deep over, and you just missed that. So there was times to where the door could have been shut, and it wasn't. Regardless of people, we can't win these close games, this and that, missed opportunity. It's not it. All Illinois was they were more consistent when it mattered.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all it was. You can say, they did this and this. It wasn't necessarily nothing that they did that, we're not in their league. No, if we would have execute even better, if we have a typically better second half than what we've seen and what we said, the whole time, stuff like that doesn't happen.
I think that's part of the frustration. Is it's another one of those games where it's like, we didn't look very good, and we still lost in overtime.
It still got to overtime.
Exactly. Like, it's silver linings. I think people are tired of it because as a Husker football fan, people are tired of just finding silver linings, but this is somewhat valid. That I think everybody would agree we did not look very good. I'm a little bit surprised Illinois wasn't able to find more offense the way our defense was playing that day. Luke played a phenomenal game for Illinois. I thought the game plan was right, but you missed a field goal. You had a questionable challenge. You dropped a touchdown that turned into an interception. You had some blown defensive plays where you could have. The one I would not blame Nebraska for was there was a 4th and 1. I thought they were short. They didn't even measure it. They just gave it to Illinois right away. I thought that could have been a turnover on downs for Nebraska, but there was a lot of things where Nebraska could have, like you said, shut the door or at least push it further away. And who knows how that defense responds if you're able to knock down that field goal, knowing they have the lead, that this game's going to be on your shoulders. You get the stop. We get to deal it out.
They were playing better late, I mean, there's a number of things that you can necessarily point to. But like I said, it all goes to the one thing that I feel like Illinois did better. Like I said, they were more consistent when they needed to be. Their defense was a little bit more consistent at times. Their offense moved the ball. I think they got the ball with like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I think we didn't get it back till or in the third quarter, something like that. They were eating the clock. The quarterback wasn't, making mistakes. And that's why I said, like, that was the first time, like, I could see Dylan as a true freshman. He made, some freshman mistakes with things and whatnot, and still got us to overtime, and that's the crazy part. Typically, that game would have been lost way before, 4 minutes left into the game. The fact that we had the ball, we could have scored it on a wide open touchdown, or could have kicked a field goal and put, a defense that was rallying at the time that would have probably, shut the door. They shut the door for them to go to overtime. They did what they needed to do. So, like I said, I mean, it's just not being consistent at the right time. And this is something that we've seen in the second half with the team. And it's something, that has to get figured out consistently on how you get things, continue to be well-oiled.
Yeah, Nick Saban even, kind of talked about it, and Jay Foreman brought it up on Sunday, saying, that's kind of the rat poison of college football is how do you handle success? Like when you're on top, when everything's going right, how are you handling it? Are you still working the same way you were in the offseason that led you to go 3-0? Or are you pulling back a little bit, feeling good? And I don't want to say that's what happened. I don't want, because I didn't see the guys not playing hard, but execution wise, just wasn't there. And that's not just to do with the players. I think the coaches have a hand in it as well. You can certainly point at a few things from that rule. The field goal kicker, which side of the hash does he want it? Especially knowing that you don't have Alvano. I have a hard time believing that play where you moved it over to the other side of the hash. Maybe that's his comfortable side. If that's the case, I guess I understand, but it's rare to see a kicker like that side of the hash more over the other one. So there's some things
if he's a right-footed kicker, typically, that the left hash is the hash. That's more necessarily natural. So I mean that you can nitpick at that and everything like that, but
it's a game of nitpicking though, because both sides you nitpick one thing here and there. That's the outcome of the game, and I think that's Nebraska. Well, it's just frustrating. It's like how many times has this got to happen where we don't have our ducks in a row. We have a team that Illinois is a good team. We definitely, and when I say we, I'm not going to throw you in here, but at least me as part of the media, overlooked Illinois. Even though I love Brett Bielema and everywhere he's gone, and I recognize he's a great coach, still overlooked Illinois, but not to the point to where I don't think I was wrong saying Nebraska's going to win this game. I was wrong because that's what happened, but they should have.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I wouldn't say overlooked. I thought this would be a good Big Ten test to kind of see, to size ourselves up against, but you have to play better. Again, I've said it before, win 2 out of the 3 phases, and special teams was lacking again. That hurt. Change just energy with things and whatnot. Offense, you played good enough to win, but you left some meat on the bone, and that ended up, hurting you more or less than not. Defense, you struggle with certain things or whatnot. The D line necessarily didn't get the normal push or normal stuff that we've seen with stuff. Again, maybe people are just double teaming of what or whatnot. So I mean, people have to step up, and not to say that they weren't or whatnot. I just think play a better consistent game. If that happens, again, you have 4 opportunities. Even if you just get 2 of them, if you just get 1, if you get the field goal at the end of the game, things might be.
You win. Yeah, it certainly gives you a good chance. It's not certain, but if you make that field goal, yeah. If you get that touchdown, absolutely. You don't have a bunch of penalties before the defense even does anything to force it. You're just setting yourself up for failure. It's just the penalties was the other thing that really bothered me. I was like, I thought Dylan Raiola actually had a really good game still. Despite, maybe some freshman things showing up. I thought him having to kind of be the leader of that team, and I thought he did a good job at it. But help your freshman QB out. Like, you can't be taking penalties like that and just keep putting the pressure on him to make big plays, opening up Illinois' defensive playbook, knowing that we're backed up so far behind the sticks that they could throw a little bit of candy, whatever pressure they want to throw at you. I was more impressed by Dylan Raiola than I was unimpressed. Maybe you could say some freshman things showed up, but I thought
it wasn't a bad showing from him. Like I said, I'm not, like I said, if he's a little bit more, and I'm not putting it all on him. Like I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, oh, it's your fault. He did. He still played, a heck of a game, and it got us to overtime. But the offensive line struggled up. The difference between, Dante and Emmett showed up, establishing the run game with certain things and whatnot. People not necessarily capitalizing on opportunities. Honestly, gave us the short end of the stick. I don't think Illinois is a better team than us. I think they are a good team, but I think we are a very capable team of beating them. It's more so, like I said, a lack of execution. And we hear that a lot and everything like that. But the way that things were executed from this year, from last year, is completely different from what we're seeing. So I mean, you're right there, and you're mad and frustrated. Oh, it's the same thing. Well, it's the same result of things, but how it looks is completely different.
Yeah, and you mentioned Emmett Johnson. We didn't see him at all. You heard Matt Rule earlier talking about how he wants one carry, one back, high teens, 20 plus, and then the second back in that 12, 15, 7. Were you surprised to see Emmett Johnson's role diminish?
Yes. The difference, I think, between him and all the other backs, he is a true running back downhill. So necessarily, if you give him a crease, which our offensive line isn't, a Wisconsin of what we know, Alabama of what we know. They're not blowing people, or one of the old 95 teams offensive line where they blowing people off. You got 3 All-American. They're not that. They're gonna give you enough, and you kind of got to make change of what's due. Not to say that Dante necessarily can't do that, but that's not what he thrives at. And I feel like he kind of not gave up on some things and went to kind of, okay, well, I got to make something happen or whatnot. But Emmett is more of a downhill. Okay, it may be muddy and murky, but he still, might squeeze through or might see things differently. And I think that's just what he brings to the table other than, Dante. Dante is a heck of a back. I like him a lot. Still 2 different styles of running back.
Yeah, and we've both been really high on Emmett Johnson, and obviously I would have liked to see him more in this game. It felt like in a game where execution was lacking, give me the back who I know executes at a high level every time. He might not be the most athletic, the flashiest, but he executes at a really high level. Whether you want him on pass pro, whether you want him blocking, helping out whoever's the sweep, he always executes at a high level. You can receiving, we don't see that much part of his game, but when he's out there, I don't see any signs that he can't be viable there. Maybe like Ramir Johnson for that, but when it comes to just simply running downhill, keeping the offense on track, I feel better with Emmett than I do Dante.
Exactly, and that's I've said that since the first game. Nothing's wrong. Dante is a different back. I feel like Emmett is more so of the lungs of like a Brandon Jacobs type of style of running back. You know what I mean? Downhill, he's not as big as Brandon, was or whatnot. But would you look at him and what he was doing for that offense of, keeping things on track, a bruiser a little bit, but can still, break things open and whatnot. The hole might not necessarily be there, but he still, can make something out of nothing. Not to say that Dante can't. He's done things tremendously, but I feel like Emmett is a true Big Ten back. I feel like this type of offense thrives off of those type of running backs to where, you can run your counter. You can run, your stretch scheme to where he can stretch it and knife back and everything like that. Just straight up ISO running into the teeth of the defense. And they know that you're a running back team, and like that's all that you pretty much got. And, it wasn't necessarily too much of a push up front. It was a stalemate. You got to do a little bit more to kind of get, innovative to get that going on. Because I think that also hurt the team with not really, establishing a consistent run game.
Yeah, especially like you said, if those holes aren't as big as you like them to be with that offensive line blocking, that's where, again, give me Emmett's field vision. I think Dante's probably the more explosive back of the two, but again, I don't really give a damn in games like this. Like I want the back who's going to keep us on track. I will risk the chance of maybe losing a big gain from Dante. I still think he's great back, part of the mix, but just to see Emmett's role completely go to nothing.
It's crazy.
Really surprised me. He put a case together against you and I.
It feels very much like Grant last year, and I was high on Grant.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm just saying it really feels like, I'm not saying he's the black sheep. I'm not saying, this or that, but I mean, what more can you ask, or you say, like, what more can you want? Anytime that you give him the chance, the guy is making a case for something. So it's very sad because, like I said, I think what he does for the offense brings Not to say that we don't have stability, but a more consistent stability within the run game.
Yeah, and I was really surprised because I was happy because I was like, he made his case. You can't take him off the field. Like, he just did it again. You put him in there. You gave him a few carries, and he still took off with a limited amount of carries. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be, a Hall of Famer future running back for Nebraska football, but what he's doing and proven, I was like, he's going to get more shots. Again, to see it go to 0 after he once again proved it against UNI, it just kind of took me by surprise. Nothing against Dante, should be part of the mix, but again, I think Emmett Johnson definitely deserves his role within that offense, especially after last season. I mean, come on, he was the thing that kept our head above water to at least make it 3 score losses as opposed to 14-point score losses. 10. So I was just a little bit frustrated. I don't see what's happening in practice. Maybe there is real good rhyme and reason as to why, but I have a hard time trying to speculate what in the world that could possibly be. Yeah, nothing against Dante, but I just think Emmett Johnson executes at a really high level. And in a Big Ten style game like that, give me the back who's going to keep the offense on track as opposed to try to bounce things out too much, try to do too much to put us behind the sticks as to at least worst case scenario, you're back to 2nd and 10 as opposed to 2nd 12, 2nd 13. With that being said, well, I want to ask this one real quick from Stevie Wilson off Facebook. Should Rule went for it on 4th down or kick the field goal with the unproven kicker? Again, with Alvano being out, who knows when he's back? We'll talk about in the next segment how concerning is the special teams. Did you like the move to try to go for the kick, or do you just say, you know what, he's unproven, tough atmosphere, we're going to go for the 4th down?
I think he made the right decision with the kick. As you being a Division I athlete, as you being a Division I prospect, you got one job. I understand all the weight of the world or whatever. You got one job. You specialists don't practice barely. They practice maybe 15, 20 minutes at practice and they're done. That's it. You have one job. That is your one job to assure that it was a reasonable field goal.
It wasn't very long.
It wasn't like it was a 45-yarder. It wasn't like it was a 50-yarder. It was a reasonable field goal that you should be comfortable enough. We should have, enough confidence to put you in that situation, and you shouldn't bat an eye, and you should be consistent. So I think Rule, with how things were rolling and how things were inconsistent with the offense, I know they got down there. I know he just missed, the overall of that. I think that was the better situation to do it because, like I said, I mean, you do that and you put your defense out there that, they go out there and you pin them deep and hopefully, you come up with things. So I don't think it was wrong at all. The execution of the kicker it pissed me off. I'm not saying I'm mad at him, but it's just like, man, look, you got one job. You know what I mean? Like you've been put in that position. It's not a hard kick. It's going into the better end zone. It's how you win it, game winning. This is your stamp to ride off into the sunset. So people start talking about you, X, Y, and Z, and it's just sad that it wasn't executed.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, John Holt, the kicker who stepped in for Alvano. Big circle on Alvano if we get him back. I don't know what the story is behind him entirely, but yeah, he makes the first one, right? So you're like, okay, you made the first one. I get it. It's a chip shot, 21 yards. This one, it wasn't outlandish. It was 39 yards, right? We're not even hitting 40-plus territory yet. So I don't hate the call. If it was a windy day, I'd probably say, yeah, don't make that call. But the winds weren't that crazy. You're kicking in. I think with the wind to his back as well, which if there's hardly any wind at all, at least it's at your back, not going against you. I got no problems with it. You just need to execute it. And I do think if we weren't stunted by like 5, 6, you could probably go back 6 years of bad special teams play, in particular the field goal kickers, you wouldn't be saying this. You would have been like, no, that's the right call. We go for the field goal. I think we've just seen so many missed field goals as part of just bad luck, bad recruiting, bad special teams coaching, where you want to put the blame. I think that's probably where you get a lot of that argument because we've seen it go wrong so many times. It feels like the right answer is obviously just go for it. We're Nebraska. We always struggle to make field goals. John Holt's got to make that next time.
I think, like I said, I think it was the right decision to do that. It is just like, come on now, like this is your job. At some point in time, like, you know, he's been holding your hand. He's been putting you in the right situations. He's been, you know, getting you confidence, and it's like, you know, we got to have that.
Yeah, we'll talk about how concerning these special teams are on the other side here, because again, without Alvano, John Holt, there's the opportunity to go ahead and take it. You're 1 for 2 right off the gate, and you missed the very big one. Not to say that it's over for him, but he's going to have a good one here to get his confidence back, I'd imagine, unless he's one of those guys where he can just put it away. But we'll have to wait and see what he looks like next time we need him. Hopefully we get more 6 than 3s. But he's certainly going to have some opportunities. Big Ten play. We talk about the 3-score losses. Well, there you go. There's a missed field goal where you could have won by 3. Instead, you lose by a touchdown in overtime. So don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling. Don't Punt Hour with the morning. Pierson-El reacting to Nebraska's loss to Illinois in overtime right here at 93.7 The Ticket.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com. Follow the Huskers to the City of Angels when Nebraska plays at USC in November. Book your official Nebraska alumni travel package at huskerfantravel.com. Choose from 2 or 3 night options that include a downtown LA hotel, exclusive welcome event, game day transportation, and the official Husker Huddle pregame party. Add on game tickets for an optional upgrade. Transportation to and from LA not included. Join the official Nebraska alumni trip to see the Huskers play at USC. Spots are limited, so book your trip now at huskerfantravel.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and Truck Month is back. We have absolutely gigantic savings right now at Koppel. They are offering $12,500 off on select new pickups. That is not a mistake. You heard right. $12,500 off list price right now on select new pickups. Those discounted units, though, will not last long. These are all manager specials. You have to come in now, so hurry in down 144th Street or shop online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G356093 must trade.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
It's the greatest time of the year again. Kickoff is here and football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and this year you can too. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code EARLY, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code EARLY to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 19 plus in Nebraska and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
For 15 years, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping has been helping Lincoln become healthier, happier, and more fit through our proven combination of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. And to celebrate 15 years of success, we're offering you 50% off our next 10-week challenge beginning September 14th. That's 10 weeks of fun group fitness classes and individualized coaching for half off. And at the end of the 10 weeks, someone's walking away with $1,000 for the best transformation. Come check it out. What do you have to lose? Click on the banner at theticketfm.com to learn more. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill or 70th and Vine. And check us out online at fxblincoln.com.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into the Don't Punt Tower. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, if you guys want to join in, use the streams, use the start name and text line 402-464-5685. All right, I teased it on the previous segment, but let's talk about the special teams. Once again, I feel like Nebraska loses that phase of the game. Feels pretty clear. Kick return game. Before we even get to the kickers, leaky again. If it's not for Buschini, they get one of those all the way back to the house. Buschini makes a great effort. And if I'm Buschini, I'm pissed. Like, that's way too many times where I'm the guy that has to make the play. What's going on with kick return in particular where we're having a problem with multiple teams now where it's been pretty leaky?
Just piss poor execution. I mean, people, same lanes, people, effort not getting down there, not winning their one-on-one matchups. Like kickoff is a mentality, and whatever it is, the persons that you've picked to be the dogs, they either getting double teamed or they not winning their one-on-one matchup at all, and it's causing missed tackles or whatnot. So you might have to reevaluate, who you out there to make sure things get done, because that's all it is.
Yeah, and to like some of it, we got to figure out ways on kickoff to get the ball, past the end zone, just get it out of play completely. And for punting, for Buschini's case, you got to quit out punting your coverage. You got to get a little more airtime under it. I think that's it's not just all on the people, the gunners, everybody out there trying to make the plays. You just got to have a little bit more hang time on that. Give your guys a better chance to go ahead and surround them, because I think it happens too many times where as soon as they get that ball, it comes down pretty quick, and it feels like they got a lot of green space to try to make those first couple guys miss. And then that's how you get to that back row, relying on your punter to make the tackle, which, give him credit. I mean, he stopped the touchdowns, but at the same time, you're part of the reason why those guys are making it all the way down there. It's a little bit of everyone to blame there. Where are you at with Ed Foley as a special teams coach right now and how he's handled things in just 2 years?
I know it feels like he's probably in a sauna. I know that, or at least it should be. It's you gotta get things right. I understand their kids. I understand that they have other things going on, but I mean, you got a job. So the people that you may have thought, again, you may have to reevaluate and put, I'm not saying starters, but different people out there to get the job done. Because it's for whatever reason, it's not getting accomplished. And at some point in time, it's going to cost you a game. Hopefully, no returns come back or whatnot. But this is how many weeks in a row we've seen, a big return. Sooner or later, somebody going to make the punter miss or, outrun everybody. And that's what you don't want.
Mm-hmm. Or, run the punter over. It's just like one of these things where eventually they're going to be able to break one free. Do you give you any hope at all that Brett Maher is going to be helping out that Nebraska special teams staff? With the new rules, you can get tons of coaches in there through practices and meetings. They're going to have him there trying to help those guys out.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a pro. I know Brett's a great guy. I think he will definitely give the kicking room better confidence. It's a little bit different, not to say that the coach doesn't know, but when you actually have a player that understands things and been through things and can relate to players on a different level, I think that's where you can kind of get the best things out of guys. Not to say that the coach wasn't doing it before, but he might actually know some other things, tricks or traits, or thinking of things in a different way to kind of get that stronger, get that confidence, better throughout the whole room. And he could probably, not to say that the coach necessarily needs it or whatnot, but I mean, he's been around in the league for a long time. He's been with, some good special team coaches over the years and whatnot, different schemes to do, different twists, on kickoff or different blocking schemes on kickoff return or whatnot. So it's always a value when you have a pro like that on your roster, and that's just not, in the coaching arena or has been a coach for a long time. He was a pro for a very long time. He was good at his job for a very long time, and I feel like, they're thinking of what's best for, the kids there. So that's good that happened.
Yeah, and sometimes, even if it's not the coach's fault at all, like whatever, you see it in the NBA all the time. A great coach leaves. Sometimes all they need is a new voice. Just for whatever reason, the voice that's been there for a long time is just either saying all the right things. It might be coaching up the right way, but for whatever reason, it's just not landing. And I can't help but think with kickers, that's such a sensitive mental thing that maybe you just need a new voice. Even if that voice is saying the exact same thing as Ed Foley, then maybe that's all you need. Just someone who's, like you said, has been there and done it, been through some, bad days. When you're the kicker, I mean, you're going to have the stadiums love you, or they're going to hate you, or they're not going to notice you. It's one of those three. Like, there's not a lot of room for a wiggle in there. They love you, hate you, don't notice. One of those. So I think, just having somebody who's been through those three phases throughout all his career, college and NFL, it's certainly going to help out. You got faith in Hull being able to lead this team to just, I don't even want to say 40 plus we expect him, but, feel good about anywhere between 10 or 20 to I'd say the ceiling's probably 40 for him, unless he proves he can make some of those deeper kicks. I just don't know where to put my confidence in this.
I mean, for the fact that Rule put him out there in that situation probably says like they're comfortable and thought, that was a comfortable range, for him, for whatever the situation or whatever, mind lapse or the moment too big, whatever it is. A coach is not going to put you in a position to where, they think that you can't do something. So, I would say probably somewhere around 45 might be his range, somewhere in between there. And hopefully we see things better with being more consistent from, things 30 plus. Again, that's not necessarily a chip shot, but, that's if you, are aspirations for, something higher or whatnot, or, on the Division I level, like I feel like you have to have that in your arsenal. That can't be something that, we really don't know. Look at Vanderbilt's kicker. He was hot and cold, or hot throughout the whole game and cold the last. Mizzou's kicker, hot and cold in the same game. You know what I mean? So it just might have been one of those situations. It's just that the moment was too high or whatever, or you done something a little bit different. I seen somebody say something with the laces or whatnot. Kick the ball. That's your job, regardless of it. I know you've practiced kicking the ball with the laces facing with you or whatnot. It's just one of those things that it's got to get corrected. It's got to get consistent.
Yeah, and this is what makes it so hard to coach too. It's right. It's like snap, hold, kick, drill it. That's it. Like it's just three things. If everybody's in sync, it goes through. But, if you break it down, the holder had the laces the right way. It wasn't going in. I'll say it. I just think I saw it. I don't think the laces, if they were just a little bit off, it was far enough off to where I don't think it was going to swing in anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think that's why you get a lot of the frustration with kickers. It's, Matt Rule even saying it's snap, hold, kick, execute. You got to make those, especially once not that far out. Now we're talking 45 plus yards. I'm going to give you some leniency, especially if the wind's blowing that day. But those are ones, you're a D1 kicker. We got to have it. Now,
expect you to make that. Like, when they went out there, I was like, oh, okay, like that's not a terrible place. Like I felt confident about it, and as soon as it got over the center's head, I'm like, ooh.
Off to the left. And again, this isn't, we lost the game because Jack Hole missed a kick. No, there was plenty of reasons, plenty of points you could point to. Again, I think
the first touchdown that Tommy gave up, you got the sideline, to you let the guy go inside or whatever. Like, there's a whole lot of things that we can pick apart, the game or whatnot. Like I said, what it boils down to is Illinois was more consistent to pull out a win than we were. That's what it is.
Yeah, they were. And, not the best game from Tommy Hill at all. And then goes out later. I hope that's not attitude things. I have no reason to say. Could be he just generally pulled something cramping. But he's listed as day-to-day right now. Just, a game where you get beat and then, we miss you for the rest of it. Like, it's tough.
And I'm not blaming him. Like,
it's again, a million reasons you can point to why we lost. How many penalties do we get? Do we miss a field goal? Do we drop a touchdown? Did Dylan Raiola take too many sacks, more than he should have? Even if the offensive line isn't being great, identify, hey, my offensive line isn't doing great right now. Let me just get rid of this because it's clear I'm not going to have an open pocket to throw it. You can nitpick 100 ways. We didn't even spend time on the defense. But that's a phase of the game that we lost in a surprising way. I thought I was just really blown away at their ability to run the ball. And then that overtime, 2 plays. You're in the corner and you got 2 plays in your system and you give up. Like, I don't want to say they give up, but certainly didn't execute. And I think this team's going to bounce back.
Oh, most definitely.
Good to have adversity.
I think it's one of those things to where it lights a fire under you because it's like, you can do better. You've seen to do better. You have an expectation of being something of living up to a certain standard and whatnot. So I definitely think they would definitely come out rolling on things. It's one of those unfortunate situations that what's been happening in the first kind of 3 games. Kind of didn't help you at all with the offense in the second half not necessarily being consistent. Just missed tackles, missed opportunities of stuff. And again, not a complete game, not a complete game on the offense, not a complete, game by the defense. And we've seen things, like I said, so I'm not saying, it's collectively we weren't consistent, and not being consistent at the right time and capitalizing on certain things will hand you a loss in the Big Ten.
Yeah. And I think if any players were listening, they were pissed off with what I'm saying. I'd hope that's somewhat of the reaction because they know as well as we do, like, they didn't play their best. I thought they played hard, but they just didn't play as good as we know they could have. They looked great in Colorado. That wasn't the same team that played with that type of fire. Maybe part of that's making Colorado a little bit of the national championship game of the regular season where it had so much hype and attention. Hard to have that level of detailed focus for everything after that, but it was just a surprising result. Speaking of that, surprising results, spent a little bit of time here on the NFL. I'm not going to pick on your team or mine. Don't worry. We're going to talk about this game that's going on right now. I don't have it in front of me, but it's 3-27 already.
Buffalo, I don't know what's wrong with the Jaguars. Like, it looks like they're just lost their flow completely.
Yeah, well, Trevor Lawrence is 8 for 15, 1 interception, only 46 yards right now. Last week he didn't look great either. They're going to, most likely at this point, they're going to be sitting 0-3. They're going to have to pull something crazy off in this next 3 quarters. Not even next 2 quarters, as it's almost halftime already. Where are you at with Trevor Lawrence? Like, is this a coaching thing? Is this he's just not the guy we thought? Is it how he got there with Urban Meyer and that whole fiasco? Like, where did this go wrong to where now Trevor Lawrence may not be the generational talent we all thought he was.
I think he's good. I didn't think he was $50 million good, but
that's right. He got paid. How can I forget?
Literally. I think it's a combination of having, the right players there. I think they lost a lot of players from a year or two ago, or when they made their playoff run on offense and defense, and you kind of got to reinvent yourself. It's just not hitting. They were hitting things, against the Dolphins and end up losing. Like, they were rolling last week. I mean, they didn't play terrible, but they just didn't finish games. And I'm not saying it's all on his fault, because I mean it's a team sport. Coaches have their hands in things. They just kind of got to stop the bleeding and put together, win tough games. They're not the same physical team necessarily that we've seen, the past couple of years. When they won that division, when they won the playoff game and whatnot. It's just a little bit. They got to find out, what clicks. From a wide receiver standpoint, I know Kurt is still there. He really hasn't been exactly what he was his first year there. They got rid of, Zay, and they moved some pieces around. So they kind of got to find their identity and establish consistency on the offensive side of things. And defense just has to play better. So, I mean, I'm not saying, Trevor's not what I think he is. I think he is what we thought, but he's not on the level of Burrow. He's not on the level of an Allen or anything like that. He's a tier under that, and he needs to play, more consistent.
Yeah, I'm not sure which tier. He was almost like in the Tua tier before Tua got hurt. And even then, I put him below Tua, certainly. I think he just hasn't had enough consistent games where he had some stretches where it looked like he was going to be that guy. Maybe not Josh Allen, Mahomes, or Burrow, but certainly in the line of one of those QBs that you feel pretty damn confident about having out there, where he's not going to be the superhero, but he's going to do enough of the things right and just control the game. And we haven't seen, anything consistent that would make you say that. They obviously saw different with that paycheck that you mentioned. They believe he can be that guy, but yeah, the Panthers, it looks like they'll be 0-3 here. On the flip side, the Bills, they look dominant right now. They look like one of the best teams. They've been playing pretty consistently. They've had some games where things got a little tight, but for the most part, how you feel about Josh Allen? There's a lot of questions about the wide receiver room, but he's making it work right now.
It's the first month of the game. Like, you got 18 weeks. So like, the way that you may have won 2 games in the front end of it, like it's looked good. It's a testament to you, doing well and whatnot. Okay, now let's see when teams scheme for that and they want you to run so they can get a solid lick on you and whatnot. Or it's a long season, so I would say I'm a little shocked of how successful they've been, this early with things. But with him just, being a competitive and everything like that, I respect that. I just don't know how long that's going to last throughout an entire NFL season.
Yeah, good point. Week 3, right? We'll see how these things continue to shake out. And it's a good thing it's week 3 because my Chicago Bears, which I know this is going to be the Bears-Raiders segment, but tough starts want things to flip around. But the Panthers.
Do you want that old thing back? I just have a question.
Yeah, you can go for it. Let's hear it. I don't like Eberflus was the wrong choice. That's my statement, but I'll let you ask. New haircut, same coach.
Are you upset at the success of Justin Fields?
It's making me feel some type of way. I'd be lying if it said it didn't. I mean, but that's what happens. Like if I let's take Caleb Williams and put him in there with the Steelers. They probably have the same record where Mike Tomlin, he doesn't get, he will figure out a way to where whether the defense does it or he gives you a simple offensive game plan. Like, he's just such a good management of the coach. He's one of the greatest coaches in the league. So I'd feel good about giving him, just about anybody. There's very few quarterbacks I feel like you wouldn't be able to salvage with Tomlin that are at least a high draft pick at one point. But one of the guys I want to talk about is maybe Bryce Young. Like, I don't know, were we wrong about Bryce Young, or is this Panthers being, you can go full conspiracy because they finally started running the ball and taking a ton of the pressure off the quarterback. I mean, it shows Hubbard had a career night. he looked awesome. It's like they used the run game that would have been awfully nice for Bryce Young to have. But now the media is kind of flipped already, saying, well, what really was Bryce Young just sucked, not the difference in play calling. Where are you at with this, with Andy Dalton?
Andy's Dalton has been in the league for a double digit of years. He's seen anything and everything that necessarily somebody can do for him and whatnot. So the fact that you might switch off of that is crazy to me. Like it's not Bryce's fault, but you have an experienced guy that sees certain things, that can get people, can check things and make things run. Bryce is young; he's still figuring things out.
I think you might have been right about just putting him in the back pocket too, just letting him learn and see, and then not as a trade piece in the future, but someone that you can continue to develop. And with Andy Dalton, he's definitely got the years under his belt. And another quarterback that's surprising before we want to wrap things up here is Sam Darnold on the Vikings. Everybody seemed to like him except for the Jets. The Jets was the only stop where people just hated the guy. How far can Sam Darnold take the Vikings team? I mean, they look good so far. He hasn't had any red flags that says the moment's too big for him. He's looked phenomenal.
I told you when they signed him, like I was like, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. He's a good player. He was a first round draft pick. The Jets are still bad. Even after he left, like I know Aaron's turning things around, but they haven't necessarily had any of the success of what they thought they were. So I mean, I'm happy for Donald because he gets that redemption to kind of show things. Again, it's year 2 and somewhat of a similar offense. It's still under the McVay tree, the Kyle Shanahan tree. All those guys are in the same grouping. So the fact that he's being successful there, matched up with a good defense, I think definitely you will see a lot of success from him. He's been in the league, 6-7 years? Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's playing consistent ball. He's not, putting the team in bad positions. He's smart. He's talented with the ball, and that's something honestly you can arguably he might looks through 3 games. He might looks better than Kirk there in the opening games of the season and whatnot. So I'm happy for him. I think the Vikings might be a team to that people are going to have to deal with, when playoff comes around, because Brian Flores and that defense is humming, and the offenses, they're running the ball well, their screen game as well, they're throwing the ball down the field well. So I mean, it's really good that is happening and that for that organization, and they'll be something to watch. Like I said, come later on in the season, or if playoff comes around, that might be a tough team. That might be hard to handle.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching the quarterbacks. Like again, back to the Bears. I was going to try to stay away from it. But that's why it's just so frustrating. You look at the Packers, their backup QB. It doesn't matter. They go 2-0. You look at the Steelers. They're in the battle.
Situation. He changed the scenery, and now you're looking at him like, like you couldn't.
I'm looking at the coaches. Like that's what this is. Like it's not even about. Oh, it's just the change. It is for me at this point with Chicago Bears. Like it's at some point, it's not the quarterback. It's what are we coaching to the point of Eberflus and the OC and the DC. Like the defense can't be the identity for everything. Like offensively, they have been so bad to watch. Their inability to run the ball, despite putting all this money into this offense, they still have no idea what they want to be. We'll have to save it for tomorrow because I got a lot of problems with the Chicago Bears. I'm sure you got some questions about the Raiders. We'll save the NFL segment for tomorrow. We'll do a deeper dive on all these NFL teams, how they're doing, which quarterbacks have been fun, which ones have been hard to watch. So appreciate the morning, Pierson-El. Time as always. We'll do it again tomorrow. Up next, Speed and Power with Megan Walker.